Now, speaking of that, I had a great conversation the other day with my friend Jeremy Kane from Denver, Colorado. And so I asked him to come on and
Yep.
share about how he works his sphere of influence. So if it's okay with you and me, Jeremy and I are going to hog the spotlight for a little bit, but we promise we'll give it back to you in just a second. Okay.
In a little bit.
All right, bud. Thank you. Hey, Jeremy, you with me?
I'm here.
Hey, man. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Good morning to you and welcome from Denver, Colorado. Hey, Jeremy, for folks not familiar with you, would you mind just giving a brief introduction to share about your journey in real estate?
Yeah, absolutely. Started about 11 years ago. I actually left my dad's brokerage 3.5 years ago for EXP, the growth opportunities. I was a top 5 agent out of 1,200 at the previous brokerage, have continued that, finishing the top 10 every single year here at EXP. But I've been able to grow, have a passion for coaching. I coached high school basketball for a lot of that time. And since I've had to move on, 3 young daughters, amazing wife. And now I get to coach agents and, ultimately lead my clients. I'm glad that we kind of touched on the leadership piece as an agent, because ultimately you are a leader. You have the ability to lead your clients to success. And that's exactly what I've really focused on with my sphere of influence. I want to help the people I love, the people that they love, grow, wealth through real estate in whatever way possible. Now I'm able to do that to help agents do the same thing that I've done.
Yeah, I love that you're also giving back to the basketball community as well. Yeah, I walked away from our conversation the other day going, who does he remind me of? Who does he remind me of? Has anybody ever told you that you remind them of Phil Jackson? And by the way, that is the highest compliment I could give when it comes to basketball.
That's cool. I'm down with that all day long. He's a pretty good guy to get compared to as obviously a Jordan fan coming up, and Kobe and all the things. So thanks,
That's
man.
awesome.
No one's ever told me that though. I better get my Zen right though, because he's got that Zen down.
He really did. Well, you got it when you're coaching those kinds of folks. Yeah. So you and I had a great conversation about sphere influence, and I want to get into that. But you kicked off the conversation saying something that I thought was pretty right on. You said you look at social media as your encyclopedia of information for sphere of influence. Can you share a little bit more about what you mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on all the social platforms. I have client-facing social media platforms, agent-facing social media platforms now. But ultimately, I just want to be a resource. I honestly don't want a bunch of people calling me that I've never met. Hey, I saw you on YouTube. I want to buy a house. I've had that happen. It's okay. I serve, I do what I do, but I want to have a resource for the people in my database, in my sphere of influence, to know exactly who knows everything about the market, who is willing to take the time to connect with them and give them the information they know. So instead of new home build tours like my friend Suman or, a lot of the other people in the wolf pack doing, kind of cold lead generation, I want people to know that if they're talking about the Denver, Northern Colorado real estate market, they can go look up my Facebook page. They can go to my YouTube channel, and I'm going to have the information they need on the market, the strategies they need to succeed, and ultimately they reach out as a result.
Yeah. And when we were talking, it seemed like you were very purposeful about that, even down to scheduling. Can you kind of share how you do that, how you continue to build that social media presence as that informational resource?
Yeah, ultimately, it started 5 years ago with live. I was that guy that, was scared to get on video. And I went to a training for the last time where I heard real estate agents have to be on video. It was kind of the thing. It still is the thing. Unfortunately, people still have to say that. But I was just like, okay, I cannot record myself, watch it, edit it, do the things. So I utilize Facebook Live. And the beauty of that is I just hit record, or I hit go live, and here I am. I'm live. I'm talking. It helped me get my camera presence down. It helped me understand that it's okay not to be perfect, because I never edited it. It was published, because a lot of us struggle with record, edit, and post is sometimes the hardest button to press, right? And so all of those buttons were pressed in one when go live. And that really helped me, right? I've done Why Invest Wednesday every single Wednesday, except for the last 2 with Christmas and New Year's falling on that Wednesday for 5 years. And it's been transformational. just allowed me to talk, allowed me to just get my information out. Now I record it and send it to my editor and do all the things, but it didn't start that way. And that's not how I got comfortable. That's not how I started generating, a sphere of influence in a space like Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah. It's funny about that is that I often joke with agents that if you're expecting to be perfect on camera, don't. You're not. I just filmed a master class yesterday live, and I had a Rick Perry moment where I forgot the word I was searching for, and that happens all the time. And look, I get it. I've got a face made for radio. I get that too. But I'll tell
Come
you
on,
something
man,
too.
you're all right.
Oh, thank you, buddy. I appreciate the confidence. But I'll tell you something too. I think we often think in terms of doing this with our cameras, and we forget we can do this too, right? There's some great YouTube channels that I follow. I'm a cook. I cook for my family, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm constantly looking for YouTube. One of my favorite persons on YouTube to follow is a guy by the name of Chef John. It was about a year of watching his videos before I ever realized what he looked like, because he doesn't put the camera on him, puts the camera on the subject that he's talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with real estate, you can do the same thing if you're that afraid of the way that you look. But by the way, that is the way that you look, friends. But however you need to get comfortable, you definitely have to get comfortable in this day and age doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely. And it just portrays trust, right off the bat, once you do turn the camera around and it's on you.
That's right. That's right. So, quick question for you. So, when I say sphere of influence, tell me in terms of numerics for you, what does that mean for you? How many folks in your sphere?
I mean, there's a lot of folks in my sphere, especially by way of what I do. But if you're talking database, I have 1,200 to 1,500 people in there. I did get hacked and deleted off Facebook and Instagram, but that's allowed me to build them a little more intentionally. I have probably about 3,500 to 4,000 followers on there. Very intentional, very dialed in. We're not talking, random people. I have different audiences and different channels for each. So that's kind of what it is. But the honest truth is, my view on sphere of influence is your business. Any conversation you have, any interaction you have, anything you have with someone, your job is to pull them into your sphere of influence, right? And if they're in your sphere of influence, then whatever, I always say everything works in this business. It just requires consistency. If they're in your sphere of influence and you can send them mailers, or you can do the calls, or you can, reach them on socials, or whatever you're doing to build business, if they're in that sphere of influence because they came from this one lead generation piece, they're basically in there, and it's just like ping pong, right? You just want to bounce all of your connection points off of them through those channels.
Yeah. And when you were talking, you shared about the 1,200, but then you also said, well, really, it's more like 15,000 to 20,000. Why is that?
That's because I am very intentional about who I bring in my sphere of influence. So we have, industry partners and community partners, right? I partner with the top lenders in the state of Colorado. I partner with the top title people. And there's all different kinds of people in my relationship. But if I have that top lender in the state of Colorado, P.S., her kids are my clients. If I have her singing my praises, then I have access to her sphere of influence. And if I have this title person over here who's really good at market updates, and I'm pouring into her and bringing her in front of my agents, right, then I have her sphere of influence, right? And then if I have the inspector or the contractor or the restaurant owner in my community, I'm accessing all of their spheres of influence by serving them and helping and partnering with them and helping them build their business.
Yeah, I always think of it that within your sphere of influence, you have your SOI, you have POI, people of influence, right?
Yep.
And being purposeful about that is just as simple as calling, companies in your area and saying, hey, can I put on a first-time home buyer seminar for your employees? Or could I come in and talk about investing in real estate for your employees? I'll bring cake, I'll bring cupcakes, I'll bring cookies, whatever. And getting into those doors and leveraging the network that you have to create those kinds of relationships for you. Now, I'm curious for you, when you think about that people of influence, right? Those POIs, are you approaching them differently in your database than you do your maybe past clients and, people in your geographic farm?
I'm bringing them all into the sphere of influence. They see everything I'm doing because those people are intrigued by how I'm reaching, the clientele. But certainly, I mean, I would tell you that I approach them very different from the get-go. It's not, hey, can I come do something? It's, hey, what can I do to help you build your business? Who's your avatar? Who's your perfect client? How can I find somebody from my peripheral in my sphere of influence and connect them with you? And so, like, for instance, right now I have this lady who's an elderly assist. She has all kinds of resources for the elderly, right? I'm busy connecting her with as many people that say, hey, my mom and dad, this, that, the other thing. I'm intentionally finding connections for her because I know that that's a huge resource for listings down the road.
Yeah.
Because if she's the resource for these people and she gets her business off the ground, which it's already successful, but if I'm helping her grow her business, then no matter what, if there's a listing opportunity, she's going to connect me. And so it's almost like helping other people build their business, and eventually the return will come because they see how dedicated I am as an entrepreneur, as a business builder, to help them build their business and to make connections.
Yeah, it's the law of reciprocity is a law for a reason. I think Zig Ziglar said it best, that I can get everything out of life that I want as long as I help others get everything out of life that they want. And that's really what you're doing. You shared a script with me, and it's very simple for your industry partners. Do you want to share the script that you use to make those introductions?
Absolutely. When I sit down with industry partners, I come at it a little bit differently. Starting, we'll do the frame of reference as a lender. When agents sit down with lenders, right? They take the call, they don't take the call. First and foremost, I like to be in person, right? So I like to grab coffee or lunch or whatever. I'll pay sometimes, but I like it if they pay. But I sit down and I just start the conversation with, just checking in, kind of getting a barometer, right? I ask them right off the gate, before they can tell me their products, before they can tell me anything else. If you were going to buy or sell real estate personally, have you ever promised your business to another agent? And the answer is typically no. Or they say, I've never been asked that. And then I, jokingly reach my hand across the table. I'm like, welcome, I'm your personal real estate agent for the rest of your life. And we go. And it's not necessarily that they are like, oh, I'm dialed into that, but it just starts the conversation off way different than anything else that they've ever been experiencing. The only person that has ever said, well, yes, kind of, I'm married. So I believe that was a promise to a real estate agent. And I said,
Don't
great.
get in the way of that one, Brent. Yeah.
And I said, great. I'm at EXP. I would love to, know how I can help her build her business and grow that relationship.
Let's go Wolfpack. I love it. That's awesome.
She'll be on at some point in this
No,
this year. I think I got her.
That's awesome. So I wanted to switch gears on you. So we've been talking about, people in your database. If I'm in your database, what can I expect in terms of touch points from you throughout the year?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of obviously 52 live videos a week that gets edited and posted to YouTube. So, whatever, pick their poison kind of deal there. Consistent social media. I do make a couple calls, usually based around some sort of service I can provide, helping pump industry partners. But the biggest thing I probably do is offer annual reviews to homeowners, right? And so people that have bought, past clients that have bought, this is something that I talk about throughout the process. But also just people who own homes, right? In my sphere of influence, I'm 40 years old. I still have friends from elementary school and high school that I went to school with right here, within 15 minutes of my current house. And so anybody who kind of needs that, I try and, pump these annual reviews. And at this time, a lot of people are shotgunning CMAs out. They sit down, they do a bunch of them. And it's just a different way to do a CMA. And I don't know how much you want me to go into it, but essentially I'm acting as a financial advisor for the real estate side, which I'm qualified through a license to do. And so instead of, the value of the home, all these data, 6 pages, and then the value of the home at the end, I said, well, if I want to help people build wealth through real estate, and me sending them a, piece of 6 pages of, content that they could double click on any box on the internet and it'll tell them how much their house is. Am I really providing value? Am I really helping them build wealth? The answer was no. So I start with the value. Right next to it, I have the equity position. In Colorado, on the public record, we can see open mortgages and things like that. So I can kind of estimate that. I also when I'm, trying to get these meetings, in my questionnaire on my link, it has, how much equity do you have in your home, or what's your loan balance, right? So if I have the loan balance and I have the market value estimated, I can get to an equity position. And then the rest of the meeting is just about the equity position there. Are you in the right loan? Don't watch out for this refi thing. Watch out for these kind of predatory things. Oh, you're looking at doing a HELOC. Maybe that's something we can do. Let me connect you with my lender that does HELOCs, right? And then we talk about insurance. Obviously, with the stuff going on in California, something very, not as serious, but 1,200 homes were gone in an afternoon here in Colorado. A lot of them were underinsured. So then I'm talking about insurance. Have you talked to your insurance guy? You've owned this home for 15 years. It's gained a lot of value. Have you looked at the insurance? Oh, I don't even know my insurance guy. Oh, I got a great insurance guy here. Call him. He'll look at your entire policy, right? And then contractors, anything you want to do to the house, and then anything you have, earmarked for that equity. Is it, I'm a girl dad, so I got college on my mind. I got weddings on my mind. But this is where they'll tell you the story, right? Hey, I want a HELOC because I want to fix up the outside of my house because I'm going to sell it in a year. Hey, I don't want to refinance because we're looking at moving in 2 years, right? This is just prospecting, right? Except for it's prospecting for 2 deals instead of 1 because they're going to sell and buy. So that's kind of how I offer it. And then I just kind of do the old, I offer this for free as a service to my clients. But if anybody brings up, improvements on their home or asking about the real estate market or anything like that, shoot them my info. I'd be happy to do it for them for free as well. And so I'm growing and reaching out to their sphere through their voice.
I love that. And you said something to me that, most of us here in the US and Canada would go see a financial advisor to discuss a $25,000 stock portfolio. And yet we have, $400,000 on average in the US home portfolio, so to speak. So it makes perfect sense. And the other thing I like about what you're talking about is you're really giving them a story to go tell to their sphere, and you're really creating a trust that's deeper than most real estate agents would ever create with their past clients, right? Just that sort of care and feeding of folks over time. So I love that.
It's a value to them, and it's a value to my industry partners because I'm driving them 10 times more leads instead of just when a buyer calls me, my lender gets, five out of 10 need something with their mortgage, can you get mortgage insurance off or whatever. So lots more conversations being generated. Went through that pretty quickly. So if you do want more, just DM me on Instagram. I have a whole webinar on it. If you DM me webinar, it'll come up to you, but you can just DM me and we can talk about it further.
That's awesome. Thank you for offering that. And thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. Great job. Keep it up, and much success in 2025 for you, my friend.
Absolutely. Thanks so much to all you guys over at EXP, the EXP corporate team. I've had the honor of getting to know a lot of you guys, and absolutely top notch. So appreciate it.
Couldn't agree more. All right. Thanks, Jeremy Kane. We really appreciate you. Happy Friday, and happy Friday to you all. Russ, back to you, my friend.
Right. Thanks, Bryon. Appreciate that. Man, that guy's sharp. I like the way he rolls. That guy's got some great stuff on sphere of influence. Yeah. Think of it like this, guys. It's sphere of influence, not spear of influence, where you go in and stab everybody you know. So this guy's talking about adding value. I love that. Do the property valuation. Do that once a year. It gives them an actual real number and a real conversation starter. So I love that all the way across the board. Great stuff, Jeremy. I love the way you roll. Check him out on Instagram.